Hello everyone. So, since my video on Studio Series 86 and why I didn't particularly like it did very well compared to what I thought it would do, that was kind of a haphazardly thrown together video, which this one's probably going to be the same way because I have to be at class in a little over an hour, but we'll blow through this pretty quickly. Today, we will be doing the reverse. Things I don't like about Studio Series, the live action version, just the live action Studio Series line. Because, um, unlike what I probably looked like in that first video where I was talking about Studio Series 86, there are things I do not like about the live action version either. And some of them are the same. Um, but without further ado, let's get into it. Number one is Bumblebee movie Shatter. Pretty self-explanatory on that one. I feel like this is a pretty universally hated figure and should be at the top of everyone's 10 worst Studio Series figures of all time. Unless you're Prime v Prime and for some reason you think that Volkswagen Bumblebee is worse. But moving on. Weird release choices. So this, I think, was also on the Studio Series 86 list. But here it's a little more I don't want to say more confusing, but like it's confusing in a different way in that because the movies had so many characters show up for various differing amounts of time, we're getting these weird like 1 second showings of characters or getting their own figures and stuff like that. So like Dark of the Moon Laserbeak is the pink Bumblebee, even though we only saw that for like 30 seconds. And then Jolt gets a figure, even though he's in the movie for like 0.2 seconds. But I actually do like Jolt. Don't come for me on that one. But like KSI Sentry here. Oh, stop. KSI Sentry here. Sorry. First, why we got KSI Sentry instead of like Hound or Bugatti Drift is beyond me. Especially when this isn't even what the KSI Sentries looked like in the movie. They were red, I believe. If I remember correctly, they were red and white, was the color of the majority of them. There might have been a blue one in there, but they're all nameless characters that you don't see for very long. They're there so Hound can shoot them. But moving on. Inconsistent quality control. Now, again, this was on the Studio Series 86 video. Bumblebee is widely known to have some of the worst quality control of all time. I own the Dark of the Moon version, and good lord, the feet don't like to stay in place. The backpack is so fiddly. Plus the clear plastic on his back, that just means that's gonna break at some point. And believe it or not, the first release of Bumblebee was worse because things would just pop off. Like, well, the arm was supposed to pop off, but like the whole hood of the car would pop off, but they later fixed that, so I don't know why they've fixed the issues on this guy. Barricade is another guy that has quality control issues with the clear plastic. Sideways has extremely loose feet and shoulders. Megatron, the little calf pads that go on the back of his legs, those pop off all the time. Mine's missing them because the guy that sold it to me didn't mention that in the price. So, moving on. There are some figures that have compromises to either mode that are confusing to me, or at least weird. So, Crosshairs here. Crosshairs looks okay right here. In this pose, looks fine. The trench coat's a bit weird. It's a bit wonky, but you can see what they were going for. But if you turn him to anything that's not dead from the front or at a very slight angle, you can see that his torso's paper thin. Like, there's nothing there. Like, the original release didn't have as good of proportions or as good of a paint job, but at least the torso was solid. Like, and they made the compromise to the trench coat itself instead of making a compromise to the robot mode. On that figure, the trench coat was made of a soft plastic that tabbed in, so that the torso of the figure was still a thick, solid piece of plastic. So, why they chose to make his torso paper thin instead of making a compromise to the trench coat itself, I don't know. And then Galvatron here. looks good in robot mode, but then you get him into vehicle mode and his feet are sticking like straight off the back of the truck. Like there's no attempt to even hide them. And it's not like with Optimus Prime where it's like his feet are sitting on, no, they're sticking up. Why they didn't just add another hinge to where you could just fold it flat, I have no idea. That's very confusing to me. I don't like some of the decisions that have been made as far as compromises in this line. Lackluster paint jobs, you can pretty much put this on any Studio Series figure. The original Revenge of the Fallen Megatron was just that base gray plastic. Majority of the Bumblebee movie figures have hardly any paint on them. The original Optimus Prime release, the one with the really really dark red, you can name any figure and it probably falls into this category. So that is something that I think the Studio Series 86 line has improved over the live action one. The Studio Series 86 line does have better paint job overall as far as individual figures go. Speaking of lack of live action Dinobots, Grimlock is one of the few live action Studio Series figures that has an amazing paint job, and yet he's the only one we've gotten. He's the only Dinobot we've gotten from Age of Extinction or The Last Night, which, I mean, they've gone to explain that they were originally going to do the live action Dinobots, but because of how well Studio Series 86 Grimlock and Slug sold, that they decided they were going to get done with the 86 Dinobots first, and then they would probably do this. So they did explain that. However, this kind of goes back to the weird release choices. Did we really need a KSI Sentry? Did we really need a KSI Boss? Did we need a Core Class Laserbeak that's a pink Bumblebee? It's just one of those things where I understand where they're coming from, but also like there were some figures they could have put off to the side to get these guys done. Oh boy, overuse of clear plastic. Okay, so I know I talked about this in Studio Series 86, but in the Studio Series live action line, it's actually worse because, here, I have a figure right here. Dark of the Moon Sideswipe, the better Sideswipe of the two. The entire hood section here, clear plastic. The entire door wing here, clear plastic. Sideways, have him here. Door wings, all clear plastic. This whole backpack section, clear plastic. Barricade, entire backpack is clear plastic. Bumblebee, entire backpack. There are so many figures where the entire backpack is made up of clear plastic. And I understand parts count, they got to keep the parts to a certain number, but it doesn't look more realistic. I hate when people say, oh, well, it looks more it doesn't look more realistic. It looks bad. If it looked more realistic, why are there robot legs shoved inside of it? At very least, God, you can see how much I don't like the use of clear plastic because I can't find the words right now. At least on something like the original Revenge of the Fallen skids, it's transparent. It's not clear. So, it at least hides the robot a little more. That I understand. But when it's just straight clear plastic, there is no hiding the inner robot at all, that's where I draw issue with. So, moving on before I go too far into another rant. Barricade. Horrible QC issues, doesn't like to tab together in vehicle mode. Cancerous transformation. I don't like the way his weapon is just sitting in his hand. I wish they had done something better with that. Just Barricade in general. This one's a bit of a nitpick for me. Always using the battle mask for Bumblebee. I think they've sort of strayed away from it now. So like the Dark of the Moon Bumblebee doesn't have the battle mask, but the Revenge of the Fallen Bumblebee, the 07 Bumblebee, B127, and I think even one of the older Bumblebee, like the Clunker Bumblebee mold, all used the battle mask, and I don't know why. I understand it here and there, or like the Volkswagen Bumblebee has the option to where you could have the normal face or the battle mask. If they had done that, that would have been better. But yeah, no, I don't understand why they keep going for the battle mask. They never paint it to where it looks good. It just looks like a yellow blob with some black eyes on it. Yeah, the regular face is much better than the battle mask. Speaking of B127, the B127 and cliffjumper molds are some of the worst molds in the line. So let's see, is there anything past that? Cool. Okay, sorry. I kind of rushed through a lot of that there just because I'm crunched for time right now. But I overall do like the live action Studio Series line better. And it's not because I hate G1, it's because I grew up with the live action movies. The movie I grew up with was Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon. I did watch the first movie, but those were the main two. In fact, I think Dark of the Moon was the first Transformers movie I saw in theaters when it came out. So, yeah, I don't want it to seem like I love this line but hate 86. I don't like 86. I like this line, but that doesn't mean I don't have issues with it, and that doesn't mean that I can't put stuff in 86 over this line. So, with that being said, I hope I've appeased some of the angry people in my comments from the 86 video, but with that being said, I'm going to end it here. I will see you guys some other time. I need your help. Okay, so the algorithm is the number one enemy of all YouTube channels. Any YouTube channel that's trying to start up or isn't pre-established is going to fail because of the algorithm. So what I need you to do, I need you to do two things. One, I need you to hit like. Two, I need you to subscribe. If you don't do either of those things, this channel is not going to be able to stay afloat for very long. So please, like, subscribe, and if you really like me, you might leave a comment while you're at it. Thank you very much.